Well, I hit the button right. Hello there, fellow Whovians. Well, a while back in the first year that we started the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS podcast, we were doing a series called The Renegades. These were to focus, this was a series of podcasts that we were going to do that were going to focus on particular characters of Time Lords and Time Ladies who did not make it in a New Who. Things that we've discussed were going to be, people like the Monk, Romana. Yep, we were even going to talk about Drax and Omega. And we had a first episode that dealt with the Valyard himself. This also included from Nerdrotic, Gary Beekler himself, and a good friend of ours, Charles Martin, who now works for Screen Rant. And after that, we did the episode with the Valyard, and we just didn't get anywhere without it. So now today, we're going to reboot that series, and we're going to talk about this lovely lady, this lovely time lady, the Rani. When we return, stand by, Whovians. My name's Christian Basil, and this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. The year is 1985, and the Doctor is Colin Baker. And there are these two writers named Pip and Jane Baker come up with this villainous character idea, a time lady named as Rani, played by Katie O'Mara. Katie would actually reappear as the Rani only twice, and if you want to count the Children in Need special, Dimensions in Time, she would appear only as the Rani twice. The Mark of the Rani in 1985 with Colin Baker, and the regenerative scene with Sylvester McCoy in Time in the Rani in 1987. This would also be, Dimensions in Time would only be the last appearance of Katie O'Mara as the Rani herself. And she was the baddie for the Sixth Doctor. Now, if anybody wants to correct me, this is kind of a little flimsy research, and this is just stuff that I've done on my own. So, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. What separated the Master and the Rani from being the bad guys, she was worried about her experiments. She was worried about what she did, and her experiments were the most important thing. As the Master just wanted to kill the Doctor and take over Gallifrey, the Rani wanted to work on experiments. She didn't care who she enslaved. She didn't care who, the things that she overran. And later on, she would reappear in Time in the Rani. Oh, I don't know why I picked that picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
As she was being disguised as Melanie Bush, Bonnie Langford, in that episode for the Seventh Doctor, who just recently regenerated, suffering from regenerative amnesia, and the Rani trying to impersonate his companion Mel when she finally sees. Well, folks, we're going to be talking about the Rani. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Here are all my friends here who are going to be helping me out today, and we're going to welcome back. We're going to start off with welcoming Kat Smith with Miss Nerd Styles.
Hi, it's great to be back.
Not bad. How are you doing? It's been some time. We did a cosplay last year. How's things been going with you?
Oh my gosh, it has. It's been last year, and I haven't been out of my house in months.
This is the year of stir crazy, right?
It's a little weird. My kingdom for a working TARDIS.
My kingdom just to get out the front door and go someplace. And you know what? You know what's crazy? I work from home, so I get double duty because I don't leave the house. I work at the house, and when my wife comes home, she goes, "What do you want to do around the house?" No, I want to go out. I don't go to dinner. I don't care if it's a drive-through at McDonald's. I just need to get it out of this house. It is driving me insane there.
Dude, I was in Walgreens today, and I was like a golden retriever with its head out the window. I was like, this is the most interesting place I've ever been.
Those things you take for granted, those places that you used to go to and go, oh, now you're going like, is that air? Is that oxygen? I can breathe out here outside my house here.
It's nuts. They're laughing at me.
Yeah, speaking of breathing outside their house, Dan, I know you are in the UK, which they're having a lockdown. Welcome to the show, Dan Hadley from the Space Book. You got to check him out on the YouTube channel. How you doing, Dan? Thank you for being up so late, too.
It's quite all right as I struggle to keep myself awake. Now, this is one of my favourite subjects. Anything 80s Doctor Who, that's it. This is my sweet spot with the series, so really it is a pleasure. But yes, we are in the UK at the moment. I'm in Birmingham, right in the middle of the UK, and we are all in lockdown at this end of the vortex. It is absolutely horrendous. It's very cold outside, so you think we'd be glad of being locked down indoors, but we're British. We always like to complain about it.
Now, what does it mean to be locked down in the UK right now? What can you cannot do?
Well, we're not allowed to go out unless it's for a very specific purpose. So we've got essential food shopping only, or if you've got to go to work, if you can't work at home. So they will stop you. You can't travel more than 4 or 5 miles away from your home to exercise. You certainly can't meet with people who you don't live in the same house as, and you can breathe in, but you can't breathe out. That's as long as you observe all those things, you can't really go far wrong.
I feel so bad because when I come on your show, when I go on your show, as far as chatting's concerned, there've been a couple of people ask me, Christian, what's the lockdown there in Florida? I said, what lockdown? It's just like, it's barely even. Yeah,
you can go off people, Christian.
I know. And for those of you just joining us, welcome there. From the both of you on the Facebook channel, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, or our friends at Wizard World. If you'd like to chat with us and discuss, we're going to be talking about the Rani, and we're going to be asking some questions about her and what you think she's going to be doing. Does she fight in the Time War? We're going to be elaborating on those things for the Renegades series, and we're hoping we're going to continue this series to talk about more about like Drax and the Monk and all those other guys there. Speaking of all these other guys, Mike, welcome back there. How you doing, Mike?
Brother, how are you, my friend?
I am surviving there, dude. How you doing there? Did you get a haircut? That looks nice.
No, my hair's finally pulled back. It's all pulled back. So yeah. It's like my hairline's just receding, and that's, I think, part of the problem with it. It's just from boredom. I'm just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, and my hair just goes further and further back. So it's going to eventually go down my back and everything. So it's cool, type thing. But yeah, it is really awesome to be here. The Rani has always been a big speculation for a lot of people, especially once the new series came up. Will the Rani ever return, type thing, because she was such a good character, and she's technically only appeared twice. And because a lot of the Children in Need stuff isn't canon, so it's just a lot of times. Sorry to disappoint you.
That's the thing you put a ball into, light it up, and it explodes.
Exactly. Bingo. So it's a lot of fun, and Doctor Who needs some consistent fill-ins other than the Daleks and the Cybermen, and because it's like those are the two bigs. The Master is the next step under, and then Rani, I think, would be should be equal with the Master completely.
I think they are. Well, I think as far as their appearance on screen and that should be more the case. But speaking of appearance on screen, I want to introduce our new friend, Alex Boof, who comes from 9 Wheels on YouTube. Alex, tell everybody about yourself, how your geekdom as far as Doctor Who, and explain to us a little bit about 9 Wheels on YouTube.
Yeah, where to start? I'm
State your name.
yeah.
Start at the beginning.
Alex.
Spell your name correctly.
Yeah, it's ORU.
Did I spell it wrong? I'm sorry.
There's an R in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I roommate from college got me into Doctor Who in the midst of, in the early days of New Who, and I've watched a lot of it. I've gone to a lot of cons, done a lot of cosplay. It's been sort of a big entrance point into extended, nerd worlds and friends what I have made. I feel like a majority of the friends that I still talk to these days I've met at either at Doctor Who cons or at cons when they were in Doctor Who cosplay. Nine Wheels is my handle on YouTube and Tumblr. I make a number of videos on Tumblr. I dabble in a bunch of stuff. I've done Let's Play videos. I've done music videos. Short films. I'm starting to do video essays. I'm also very slightly known in certain corners of the internet as that guy who counts screen time of characters and actors in movies and TV shows. So if you
gotta have a hobby on something there.
You see the big list Marvel Cinematic Universe screen time thing. That's me.
Gotcha. Well,
Alex, I post about that on Tumblr.
Did I spell your name right? It's Bouruff, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, got it. Good. I want to make sure because we're going live. I don't want people to get their name wrong out there. Well, gang, welcome back there. So what we're going to do is start out what we normally do for the rating scale when we review something. But I just want to make specifically clear about this. We're only discussing about the character. What we normally do is a rating scale from 1 to 10, 1 being 10 being so awesome, so wonderful. Kat, we're going to start with you. How you're rating, and again, we're just rating the character, not Katie's performance, not Siobhan's performance, or anything of that nature. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of the Rani as a character in Doctor Who?
I love her. Solid 8.
Solid 8. Okay.
Solid 8.
What are the 2 points that are not getting her a 10 as of yet?
Just because there's there's room to grow. Just because there's room to grow. Solid 8. And the only reason why there isn't more is because I want there to be more of her.
Okay, so it's a deficit as far as appearances are concerned, not necessarily the performance or character. But
yeah, I mean, there was so little of her in that we saw. I would have liked to have seen backstory, and I would have liked to, I would just like to have been there to have been more, and more cosplay options. Because let's face it, that's how I express my love.
No, that's right. Okay, so it's not necessarily knocking the character. It's more or less because BBC, for whatever reason, they just never wrote the character more in there. Joe asks, well, who's your favorite doctors? Mine's are 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13. Mine's is 4. We're talking about the Rani tonight, Joseph, but I'll give you an answer on 4 there if anybody else wants to shout out over there. And if you want to shout out, please, if you're on the YouTube channel, if you're on Twitch, if you're on the Facebook page of either the Wizard World or the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, you can make your comments known. Just go ahead and type in there. Any questions or anything you want to ask the panel, or if you want to make your discussions about the Rani yourself, just let us know. Just type into the comments below there. Thank you so much there, folks, for joining us. Dan, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think of Rani?
Kat hit the nail on the head there. She's absolutely right. You can't. I love this character. I first saw the mark of the Rani when I was like 10, 11 years old. Made a big impression on me. So much fun. I've always loved Kate O'Mara. In the UK, she'd been. I wouldn't say she was a household name, but everybody knew her from other shows and movies over a 10, 20-year period at that point, and afterwards too. She was really quite famous, and her role in Doctor Who. I know it just came at exactly the right time. But unfortunately, as much as I love everything that she did, I can't give her more than an 8, largely because of what Kat said. She's absolutely right. There is not enough of it. And more to the point, we never got, and I think we were just around the corner from, a definitive Rani story, in the way that you could say, the Master had got something like the demons or various other characters, recurring characters, get that particular story. And I think the Rani never really reached hers. And who knows? It could theoretically still be told, but it never happened. And so she's one of those figures in Doctor Who history that never reached that creative potential, really. I think, I don't know who I would blame for that. I'd probably blame circumstances more than anything else.
Well, speaking of circumstances, folks, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion about the Rani in the Renegade series, all the Time Lords that were in Classic Who but just didn't make it to New Who. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend. Also, I want to make this announcement. We want to thank 2 of our new sponsors you're going to see here, and a special announcement after the commercial break. We want to welcome Embellish FX and our new friends, Doctor Who. You saw them in the last episode. Doctor Who Worlds Apart. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to be part of the legend.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Out Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellish Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellish Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellish Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embellisheffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Again, we want to welcome our new sponsors, Embellish FX, and what you just saw, Doctor Who Worlds Apart. If you want to check them out, you can actually purchase your virtual cards right now on Doctor Who worldsapart.com. That's Doctor Who, one word, worldsapart.com. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel or any of our social media platforms live, don't thank us. Thank our friends at geekinsider.com. Don't forget to subscribe at geekinsider.com.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
And those of you just joining us, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. If you're on the Wizard World channel, YouTube channel, Facebook page on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, or on Twitch, we welcome you and thank you for joining us there. My name is Christian Basil. Again, we're here with Kat Smith, Dan Hadley, Alex Boruf, and Mike Faber from Earth Station Who podcast down there.
Are you doing the French version or something?
I did. I went French for a little bit, and I think everybody ran. So, speaking of Mike, you did start a little discussion about the Rani, but give us your rating on 1 to 10 based upon her character and our character alone. What did you think of the Rani as a character?
The Rani as a character, I will give a 7.
Okay, a little lower than our friends out there.
Yeah. My reason for the 7 is a couple different reasons. First off, not enough appearances of her is the first reason to knock the point off. She's such a good character. She obviously has a history with the Doctor.
Oh,
you know, in both her appearances, they hit on it a couple different times. And it's very, frustrating because you want to hear what the history is, where, if they were schoolmates or if they knew each other from after, growing up, whatever, or just being on Gallifrey or in travels. There's so many adventures of the Doctor that you don't ever see. Did he run into the Rani in one of his past regenerations or something like that? It would have been interesting to see. The other 2 points come off for me real easy. Pip and Jane Baker. It's very straightforward.
Which is ironic because Chris Chibnall actually kind of, for the better term, chewed him out on TV.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he did. He did. There, I was just like, so it's basically we're all in a consensus that's basically her appearance there. Everybody's asking what their favorite Doctors is. So there we go, Philip. All of them, all the Doctors are your favorite. The War, the Ruth, everybody. Yep,
exactly. Anyone who has the title Doctor, even Peter Cushing.
There you go. Alex, 1 to 10. What do you think of the Rani?
I wish I could offer more diversity of opinion, but I'm going to go with 8 for the same reasons as I guess I will. I would personally choose to phrase it as like there are some great characters who appear only once or twice, and that's perfect for them because of like they are written to be 1-off or 2-off or whatever, and that just works. And I will say it's very clear that the Rani was written with the concept in mind of being recurring. So it's like it's if we got more characterization, more like just there's all of this potential to it, but there's relatively little, not just in terms of number of appearances, but in amount of substance to the character because she was clearly designed to let's keep bringing her back. And so it's sort of a this potential that was designed into the character that hasn't been fulfilled.
Right, and I think we're all in a consensus. She did not have a lot of screen time. The screen time that she had, Mark of the Rani, pure genius, loved it. Her spatting with the Sixth Doctor and the Master and butting heads, the 3 of them together, just classic. But then when you got to Time in the Rani, I think it's just, and I'm not trying to be kind of off-putting, but I just somebody had mentioned that the Rani had a nose stud during that episode, and I was just like sitting, why would the Rani want a nose stud? And I was just like, I don't get it. Maybe that was something that Katie pulled out and said, you know what, she needs a nose stud. I have no idea.
I think it was some sort of play on the fact that the word Rani is it's an Indian word for princess.
For queen. Oh, I thought it was queen.
Queen. Oh, it could be queen. It could, yeah. So, and I think obviously nose studs and those kind of things. Lots of people have nose studs now across all different sorts of cultures and for different reasons. But back then, back in the 80s, nose studs and things like that were more associated with Indian culture.
Okay,
very much so. And that was kind of neat thing with her. Even the way she dressed was kind of like Indian, the styles and everything of her costume.
That is true.
In her first appearance. Yeah.
That's kind of true there. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, except for that picture.
especially in that picture right there.
Yeah.
The colors and the robe and how it flows. And it's not that I'm a fashion police or anything, but you could just see the styles and everything. But then it changed completely with her second appearance.
So, big question. I'll toss this to everybody, and maybe I'll just start it with Dan.
Yeah.
Did she fight in the Time War?
The Rani wouldn't fight for anything. The master absolutely would. He's
Well,
got
he
he's
did.
got a raging ego and a lot to gain potentially by shifting his allegiances. You know,
Right.
he's got the Master has no real, despite what he may say to the Doctor sometimes to manipulate him. The Master has no more allegiance to the Time Lords than he has to the Cybermen or anybody else. But the main difference, as we're I think somebody mentioned it earlier on, the main difference between the Master and the Rani is the fact that the Master is completely immoral, whereas the Rani is completely amoral. She's got no interest at all in petty things such as wars.
Right.
And the only reason she'd be interested, she would be involved in the Time War, but the only reason that she would be involved would be the case of the fact that reality itself would be at a breaking point, and her world, her Maya Zamir Goria, with that world that she rules, that she seems to use to experiment on its people as a sort of empress, that would have been involved somewhere along the way. So I don't think she would have fought in the Time War, but I think that she will have reached an arrangement with the Time Lords whereby she could carry on her research to potentially to supply them with some advantage that would come up through her research. Or hey, maybe she'd have the same arrangement with the Daleks.
Exactly. She could go on either side. I could totally see that.
That's what she would do. She would put herself somewhere in the middle and annex herself as much as was physically possible, so that she wouldn't have to enter the battle in any way, because she viewed it as a complete waste of time.
Oh yeah.
She was always about getting what she wanted. She didn't care about anybody else. She wanted whatever she needed to get done, and if there was an interference, if she had to manipulate it, like working with the Tet traps, then she would try to arrange it so it would work in her favor. Sometimes it backfired, as it did in Rani Weeps the Whirlwind, because I don't know if anybody's heard about the story, but that actually takes place after time in the Rani, where the moments after the Rani's been captured by the Tet traps, they use her to help them raise a food source. And if you can find it, I found it on YouTube. That's how I found it. In a very odd place, but
it's a fun story. But they put her to exactly you've just described. They put her to work, don't they? And it's in her best interest, if she's to continue doing any research, any work at all. It's in her best interest in that moment to go along with it for as long as she needs to get to a point where she will reach a next advantage. It's a curiosity, that story is.
Gotcha. Kat, what do you think of Dan's thesis on the Rani? Did she fight in the Time War, or did she just avoid it, or?
I think that Dan and I are joined at the brain on this one, because I think she has better things to do. Please.
Things to experiment on.
Poison their nonsense with that. I absolutely, I'm not getting my hands dirty with that. I have better things. If I'm going to ruin my nails, I have way better things to get my nails messed up with. But you can send me the cadavers. Anybody that gets killed in your stupid little war, you can send me the bodies, because I'll do experiments on them. And from both sides, mind you. And y'all go off and kill each other. You go off and kill each other, and I'll do my thing. And talk to me. Whichever one of you winds up the winner, you can talk to me, and I'll be over here. But she doesn't care about that.
So she's basically, she would be a person. Okay, I'm trying to phrase this right. The Eighth Doctor would not fight in the Time War at all. He would fix things in the Time War that were related to the Time War, but he didn't go any further. Meaning that if somebody got hurt, he would patch them up, but that's it. That was the extent of it. He wouldn't fight the Daleks as the people were getting hurt.
Yeah, the Doctor would have been what we had in the Second World War as a conscientious objector.
Exactly.
On moral grounds. So you've got the difference between morality, immorality, and amorality in the three characters there.
So. But we have the Rani who would say, I'm only doing stuff so I can stay alive and try to work on my experiments, and I don't want anything to do with this right here.
She's,
Yeah. Philip Nichols' time in the Rani, that couple, Pip and Jane Baker, wrote second appearance of the DR's and Colin Baker's Doctor originally, but he refused to come back just for the one story rather than to do one more season. Can you blame him? Hence recast with the new Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, who fit comfortably in that Sixth Doctor regeneration outfit, from what I heard. I've seen the pictures of him before regenerating. He does look like it's a blanket on.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Pretty much.
when he does the generation scene
Wonderful
there.
stuff.
So, Alex, your turn. Did she fight in the Time War? Did she avoid it? What do you think about what Kat and Dan had said?
I think there's also there's definitely a sort of a similar but distinct possibility of her staying out until someone dragged her in. You know, it's sort of because she's certainly, much as she's not going to get involved for any personal convictions, it's also entirely possible that either side could have come to, you know, the Daleks to try and kill her, or the Time Lords to conscript her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see, you know, Rassilon just deciding, like, okay, doesn't matter now. Banishment rescinded. You're going to work for us because we need all the help we can get.
Right.
And that could play out any number of ways. Either she, you know, kills anyone who's sent after her, or that's how she gets successfully, you know.
Well, the Time Lords were desperate at the moment. If you remember from Day of the Doctor, they had used all the weapons in their arsenal. They had recruited and resurrected the Master, and I'm sure they resurrected Rassilon because we're like, oh, we're really in deep doo-doo here. So I'm sure they would have probably found a way to use the Rani, but the Rani's going like, listen, I'm gonna get. I might do things for you, but I'm not. If I can get the heck out of here, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge there. Mike, bring us home. What do you think about our thesis about here?
I definitely think she fought in the Time War, because if you remember at the time, you know, throughout the Time War, the Time Lords became very morally ambiguous also. Right. And they, you know, you've had the Daleks on one side, but you had the Time Lords on the other, and you didn't know which was worse sometimes. Right. And I'm really thinking that, you know, like you had mentioned earlier, that Rassilon probably, you know, sent people to pull her in and say, we'll give you anything you want, any kind of experiment, any size lab, no matter what. We want you to work with us and design these weapons, design these chemicals, design, you know, these doomsday devices for the Time Lords, so we can get an advantage on the Daleks. And I see her, you know, that would be too good of an offer for her to turn down, you know, to go for, but she was probably working on side things to go, you know, she might have been selling it to the Daleks. Who knows, you know, but just
she's
because,
a war profiteer. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't even say war profiteer. She basically, in an evil way, but she basically was, I could totally see her majorly involved with the Time War. Do I think, you know, do I think she made it out? Possibly. And we'll get into that, I'm sure, later, because I have theories on that. So, but it's gonna be very interesting to see. I like the idea of the, you know, the Rani, you know, almost side by side with Rassilon. I definitely think there's a good chance at it, and you know, her being like the lead scientist for the Time Lords.
It's a possibility. I think begrudgingly she would have taken the job. It's just like, well, you got any other choice? Look what's happening on the other side, and just like, okay, I'm in. Speaking of in, we've got a commercial break. When we return, we're going to continue our discussion with the Rani, the Renegade series. Thank you for joining us. Continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend.
Bateman.
What's the Bateman?
A novel set in Florida, written by Florida author D.L. Havlin. Suspense, mystery, and murder.
Evidence is in the bait.
The Bateman is available at local bookstores and online.
Alien invaders enslave Earth,
unleashing hunters into the ruined wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series.
By Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
Experience Samara's adventure as she imagines the people around her change into friendly cartoon animals right before her eyes. Journey with her in this poetic tale, My Cartoon Imagination at School.
If you're around to listen to the Embellish FX commercial, you probably heard a very young voice doing the narration. We want to wish Cosplay Michael of the Hanging With Web Show a very happy birthday. There he is with Lauren Edinger. I didn't ask how old he is, but I know today is his birthday, so we want to wish him a very, very, very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Cosplay Michael. You can check him out on his Facebook page, on his Instagram, or just go to the HWWS Media. He's tagging along with us. We're all a part of it. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, Hanging With Web Show. We are all part of it, but we want to give Cosplay Michael. He's there with Lauren Edinger of We're Woman Cosplay with the Traveling TARDIS. Why he's taking a gun and about to shoot it, I have no idea, but there he is. We want to wish him a very happy birthday to them. I know he's been a busy kid today. So for those of you just joining us from the Wizard World page, or for those of you at the Traveling TARDIS, welcome back. This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Bays. I'm here with Kat, Dan, Mike, and Alex. And I just want to let you guys know, if you've seen all these advertisements and want to advertise our show, we actually have some new advertisers. You saw Embellish FX and Doctor Who World Is Apart. Thank you so much. We can't do the show without you and everybody watching. If you have any concerns and you want to join us in our family of sponsors, Sage at Hanging With, spelled HANGIN, withshow.com, or myself at HANNGIN withshow.com there. And we're going to continue our discussion with the Renegade series, the Rani. So I'm going to throw this question out in the field. Whoever wants to take it first. Is she still alive? Did she make it? Is she going to be alive at this point? Okay, Mike and Bellish, why do you think she's still alive out there?
Well, she's too good of a character not to still be alive. And as you saw in a lot of Doctor Who already, a lot of the Time Lords survived. They were put into the time stasis. I don't even think she was even on Gallifrey at that point. I'm sure she's off in some planet somewhere and doing her experiments. And it's just a matter of time till the Doctor runs into her again.
Gotcha there. We got a message from Philip Nichols. It says, Katie O'Mara endorsed and gave her blessings before reaching. She passed in March 2014 for Siobhan Redmond, which we're actually going to be discussing in a little bit. For those of you who may have heard Siobhan on the Big Finish, she actually regenerates. Well, actually, we don't even know where Siobhan is. We assume that she's after Katie, but she could be a predecessor. For Siobhan Redmond playing the Rani on Big Finish with the Rani Elite in December 2014 and Planet of the Rani in October 2015. I do remember her talking in an interview that she not only wanted to see the Rani back, but if she didn't get a chance to see the Rani be her, that she would gladly give the laurels to somebody else to take on the role. And I think the Rani should make a comeback there. Alex, you still think she's alive out there?
Well, I mean, it's a Schrodinger's cat situation. She's alive and dead until the writers specify one way or the other. So
that was a cheap out. That was a cheap way out, and I liked it very much.
Wow.
We can say she's alive as we can.
That's good, as long as the writers.
I like him.
Absolutely attest that she is alive until the writers say otherwise.
That's
I like to think so, because that'd be cool.
She should come back there. Kat, you think she's out there, alive out there somewhere, doing her little experiments and keep on going?
That question without dissing on Chris Chibnall?
That's hard.
That's impossible. Come on.
Yeah. Ever heard Dan Stroh?
Look, I would love for her to be alive for all of the reasons. I think that it makes sense that she would be, because she is just too smart to not endure.
Right.
Also, I've always, anytime I watch classic Doctor Who, I have this game that I play. It's called Spot the I Claudius cast member. And they're all there. And the only one who's missing is Siobhan Phillips, who is still working. So if we're talking about people who could, Siobhans who could also, other people named Siobhan who could play the Rani, I'd love to see her play the Rani. She played Livia, and I would kill to see her as the Rani. That would be amazing. But and anyway, what I wouldn't give to see 13 and the Rani square off under, a good showrunner. What I wouldn't give, this finger, I'd give it right now. Cut it off. No, but really, that would be
okay. Christian, you have that recorded, right?
Yeah,
it's
we do.
recorded now.
It's live out there, so everybody on Wizard World and our YouTube channel has seen it there. Kat, I hope we don't have to lose body parts to bring back.
But seriously, that would be so cool, and 13 could really use that. That would be just such a badass villain, a badass female villain could be the thing to bring out the badass that the first female Doctor kind of needs. Because I've been waiting to see the oncoming storm come back in the Doctor.
As funny as it sounds, and since we're talking about the other Renegades, I actually paired 13 up, and I think this would be a great foil for 13. I actually paired her up with the monk. Because she knows the moral compass of the monk knows the moral compass of the Doctor, especially if you go into Big Finish, into the episodes like To the Death and Lucy Miller and all those episodes. The one with the Mars with David Warner, Resurrection of Mars, where the monk can actually take the moral compass of the Doctor and use it against her. And because she's always this kind of happy-go-lucky, everything's beautiful, I would love to see a character. And I was hoping that's what would happen with the Master this last time. But it turned out to be the Master again and again and again and again. As I tell Chibnall, there's more than 3 Time Lords in Gallifrey. If you'd like to use them at any time, I'm sure the Rani, the monk, you know what? Bring back, oh my God, what's he doing somewhere in trapped in space? But I digress. Dan, is she alive out there? Do you think she may survive the Time War, or do you think no sequel for Rani?
Well, for a start, I'm still laughing at Kat's offer to lose a body part. Because let's face it, the BBC, they're in trouble over here. They're losing all these license fee payers. If they could find a way for us to send them body parts and for them to monetize them to continue paying for their programming, believe me, they would. Don't put the idea out there. But
that is funny.
But
okay,
the Rani, is she still alive? Of course, she's still alive. Yeah. And I'll tell you what. Because, well, for a start, she's not reckless. Like the Master is reckless and passionate. And to be fair, so is the Doctor, and she's not like that at all. There's a scene in The Mark of the Rani where they go into the Dell, where Perry is with Luke in the Dell, and they're trying to negotiate those landmines that turn people into trees. Yeah, and somebody says to the Doctor, I don't think. Oh, Perry, the Master says to the Doctor, oh, she can't remember the path through. The Rani can't remember the path through. She's just left them there at random. The Doctor says the Rani never does anything at random, and that's absolutely right. There's a pattern to everything. She's always prepared. I suspect she's always got an exit route from her exit route.
Yes,
and she would have left nothing to chance. And being an expert, being a biochemist, being a biochemist, if the Doctor and the Master have got the chameleon arch, I believe that the Rani would rewrite her own DNA if she had to find a way, not just to survive, because for all I know, her own survival, I think she may even rather her work survives. I don't know about that, but anything that can facilitate her survival and the continuance of her work, she'd be absolutely and totally down for that. Yeah, so I think she's still alive. Yeah.
We have Karen Halleck in the chat saying the Rani may have most of her generations left. It's hard to tell with her. She's only really had 2. We've had Siobhan and we've had Katie, and that's it. And we don't know if she was at the beginning of her life, the end of her life. We just know that. Thanks to Time in the Rani, the Doctor and her are the same age, 953, and whatever you want to believe now is the age thing out there. Philip is back. He says, "Well, a writer than showrunner Stephen Moffat didn't care much about the Ranis. He got upset, swearing nobody remembers or gives up about the Rani. Shame he felt that way, making the Master female a woman as Missy in Series 8 finale, particularly." In Series 9 and the final opener, and that still contains my argument. if Michelle Gomez was the Rani, she would have been an exceptional Rani. She could have pulled it off. But she was the master, and I still love her, and she did a wonderful job. But if she played the Rani, I think it would have been wonderful.
Well, Christian, it's basically the same character. Even in Dark Water, she is messing with biochemistry. It is
right.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
She's got that sort of she's got the master sort of psychotic side, but the way that Michelle plays it, for the most part, plays it very similar to closer to the Rani than the master.
Mm-hmm. And there were so many rumors going on with the new series that Gillian Anderson was going to be coming in to play the Rani.
Oh,
and it was just
they couldn't afford her now.
they can't afford her now, but it was before, it was in the period when she really wasn't doing much, TV wise. And so it was real interesting to see. And, it's probably the Mirror that started it, or someplace, one of the rags that would say it. I definitely could see, everyone was hoping when Michelle Gomez was starting to pop up, and they didn't say who she was or everything. Everyone was like, oh, it's the Rani, type thing. And then it was Missy, which is just as awesome
too. Every time they introduce a mysterious female character, they said that about River, they said that about Ruth. Everybody's default is, ooh, it's the Rani.
Well, it was because that was the only villainous time lady we had at the time, and I'm sure we could have pulled more out of anywhere. But and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Fugitive of the Jejune. We finally got another villainous type time lady who lasted 5 seconds on screen, and I was like, okay, that's great. Well, we don't know about her now, but because everybody wanted to be the Rani, and there was one thing that Moffat threw everybody off. He told us we weren't getting the master back, so that's what threw everybody off. Oh, but it's now in the form of Missy. So yes, we got the master back. You just didn't, everybody had figured it out. You just didn't want to tell us that we were right. You just brought her on as Michelle Gomez. So I'm just like, whatever. So speaking of whatever, because I have basically no segue skills, we're on to our commercial break, our final commercial break. When we return, we're going to complete our talk about the Rani in the Renegade series. Thank you all for joining us on the Wizard World on the live chat. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, become part of the legend.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
This is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Also catch us on the HWWS Web TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today and become part of the legend. Become part of the legend. Join us on our Facebook page. We are closing in on that big number of likes. Now, we've actually reached, I'll start with the likes there. We are at 49,500 likes on our Facebook page. Wouldn't you like to be the one that brings us over the top to our 50,000th like over there? But we also have 51,000 followers on our Facebook page as well. So join all of your Whovian friends who love this show. We can't do this without you. Please subscribe to us or like us on our page at facebook.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. That's facebook.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Also, you can subscribe now on our upgraded, thanks to the Cybermen, upgraded The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.com. You can actually purchase Traveling TARDIS merchandise from our Threadless store. You can we have a tip jar if you want to just contribute some money just to help for the show so we can improve things and go on tours and such like that once conventions start opening up out there. We're excited. We're not going to announce anything as of yet, but we have 2 conventions that we are in final confirmation. Should they open up to the brick and mortar, we are in final talks with them. A couple that they're going to be taking place late in the year. So fingers crossed that things get better, and fingers crossed that things get better for everybody. Not only just for just conventions to open up, but for the world out there, as Kat mentioned there. Also, for our friends on the Traveling TARDIS, make sure that you're subscribing over to facebook.com Wizard World and check out their merchandise at the Wizard World Vault. My name is Christian Basil. Welcome back. I'm here with Kat, Dan, Mike, and Alex. Just to wrap up our discussion with the Rani out there, we got some chats up here. William Pace, legit commercials. What am I doing wrong? I don't know. William, do you run your own podcast? Just I have no idea. There, Pops Van Zandt. Welcome there. So yeah, he just mentioned we're at 51,000 followers on the Facebook page. How you doing there, Pops? Phillips back says, true, agreed. Just need biochemistry with Michelle Gomez as Missy, the female of the master. I cried out the Rani when Deepwater was on ABC TV. I'm 2014, but had already said that week could be the master. Go figure. I don't know. I just, when that big reveal came up with that was the master in female form, I was just like, okay, again, what's wrong with the Rani? What's wrong with Romana? What is everybody doing? I just feel that they're kind of left out there. Oh yes, Creators Outlet. Well, check it out, everybody. Creators Outlet. And a lot of likes. We'll see if some friends have put a like on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Well, we hope we all do there. Dan.
Yes.
I think we've all answered this question. Would you like to see her back? And if she comes back, who do you want playing the Rani?
Oh God, I wish I had sprung me on that, because now all I can think about is Gillian Anderson, because that is a brilliant suggestion. Yeah. Who would I like to see playing the Rani? I think that I would go with somebody. I'd go with somebody who looks like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. I think Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey would be superb.
Oh, she would be awesome. Yes,
I see this to her. I think in that, and of course she's got this beautiful complexion. Yeah, she looks like an angel. So the idea that she could be this amoral alien scientist who would dismember you in a split second, do a Thanos. Yeah, that I love that idea. Oh God, yeah. The more I think about it, there's lots and lots of great actresses. What's her name from Preacher? Oh God, I really like her as well.
Ruth Negga.
Yeah, really like her. I could see her doing that. She, the darkness that she sort of managed to tap into in that role. Can't remember the character's name now in Preacher, but I really liked her in it. Yeah. Oh, so many.
Cool. Kat, do you want her back? And if she comes back, which form does she, or if you want to go this route, he take?
I want her back badly. If I cannot have, my Claudius cast member, Siobhan Phillips, I want Joanna freaking Lumley.
You took her away from me.
yeah.
I wanted it.
Joanna freaking Lumley. I'm sorry. I want her to be, I don't want a sweet young thing. Sue me.
No, that's right. I think Joanna Lumley would be great. I actually created a meme that it was a running gag. It was a joke that I made. When Jodie Whittaker was announced, there was a picture I put up at the top, and it said, "I'm the first female doctor," and at the bottom is Joanna Lumley from Curse of Fatal Death going, "Be please." So,
that's awesome.
You know who else would be amazing? Grace Jones.
Who?
Oh
Grace
man,
Grace Jones.
Is she still doing?
Love Grace Jones.
Retirement. Or Iman. Iman, she'd be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or just cheekbones for days. She'd be amazing.
Is she still doing work today? I mean, the last time I saw her was on the Star Trek 6 movie, or the Final Frontier. No, not the Final Frontier. It was and she had a very minor role, so I know she was doing work in the final Star Trek original series movie.
Undiscovered Country.
Yeah,
Undiscovered Country. Yeah.
But that was the early 2000s. That was like almost 20 years ago, dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Is she still doing work? Is she still?
She's still gorgeous.
I'm not saying her looks have gone down. I'm just saying, is she still doing work? And she's like, okay, because there you go, Mike.
A couple different folks. Who would be good as Rani? Well, I'd like to see Hallie Outwell. Probably would be kind of cool. Anna Medley, she is in the new version of All Creatures Big and Great and Small.
Mm-hmm.
She would be great. Still want Gillian Anderson, but who's asking for much? Yeah, I want somebody who can go toe to toe with the Doctor, not somebody who's like cute and bubbly and everything. Hey, I'm the Rani now. No, I don't want that. I want somebody who could put ice in your veins type thing. So there's, I definitely would love to see an older actress as the Rani. Someone probably 30s up through, early 60s. I think one of those actresses. I think there's a lot of different people that you can get.
Alex, let's round it up. If you could pick your Rani, who would she be? Who's your Rani, and what did she do?
Well, that because I've been thinking about this, especially in terms of because the Master keeps coming back, and like now we've got Sacha Dhawan as the Master, and he's less zany than the last two Masters, but he's still very intense and very extra. And
wait a minute, you think he's less zanier than Missy, or
I think he's less wacky. I should say, like less comical,
psychotic.
Well,
I'll go with that one.
Crazy.
I saw that thing in the plane
quirky.
he was doing, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's whacked out of his mind."
No, I would say less quirky. But yeah, he's really intense. And then and you got Jodie, and Jodie's very warm and friendly. And yeah, I think that would be a great opportunity to have someone who's just cold blooded. Who it would make for a nice contrast and a nice. The name that just popped into my head that really delights me, Lena Headey.
Oh, she would be awesome.
Lena Headey.
Lena would be awesome. Yes.
I would kill to see that.
Completely see that. If she played it like she played the villain in Dread in particular.
Pops Van Zandt says Kate Mulgrew or Captain Janeway, and he also throws in Katie Sackhoff, and I'm like, ooh, okay. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up with my choice, and I actually did show her for just a few moments, and I'm begging Chibnall or any future showrunner, if you're not going to use her as Romana, please pull in Juliet Landau as the Rani.
Yes.
She could do it. Go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I think she's wonderful in The Big Finish as Romana.
Yeah,
I think she's been amazing.
Job.
And a lot of people
go both ways there.
Yeah, a lot of people just know her from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right.
And she's so much more than that. And if you ever hear her play Romana in the Big Finish audios, she could easily be the Rani on TV. Very easily.
I kind of could consider her more of a down to earth Romana, if that makes any sense. She's kind of leveling the. I'm trying to say this right. It's not coming out right. She's kind of just somebody who just lays down the law again to her other predecessors. What separates her is just like, I'm telling you, this is because she's also Lady President of Gallifrey at this point, but she just lays down the law and says, this is all that's going to happen. This is, nothing else, nothing more there. And Philip Nichols agrees. Lena Headley, good choice. And I love Doctor Who. Yep, Carolyn Freeman, we love Doctor Who too. And speaking of which, folks, this is the end of the audio portion of our show. We want to thank everybody for our friends at Wizard World. Kat, Dan, Alex, Mike, thank you for joining us today. We're going to continue on. We're going to do our after party. So if anybody wants to stick around, you're more than welcome to. We want to thank our friends at Wizard World for allowing them for our partnership. We wish to continue on there. And I have good news, or at least I'm going to mention this. If Wizard World goes back to brick and mortars, we will be joining them. The Traveling TARDIS has been invited to be at Wizard World to host panels for Wizard World. So we're hoping we'll work out the logistics in that when everything gets back to normal. Final comment. Phil Nichols says, good choice. Interesting. She plays Romana on audio. Yep. And she was also too. So she can be a goodie and a baddie. So she's got an open role there. Thank you all for joining us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Oh, is that you, Dan? You got a ship coming in?
Not this time.
Oh no, that's me. Sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. That's me. My tone,
is it a phone or a vibrator?
Does that sometimes.
You might want to get that checked out.
Exactly.
It does this.
Do you need to leave the room or something before something burns down? Or what?
Okay, there we go. Would you?
Okay, that's where we're going to end.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Legend of the Traveling TARDIS after party. If you want to stick around and have more comments, please, by all means, stick around there. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. And please continue to stay logged on, tune in, be safe, wear your masks, wash your hands, whatever you need to do to protect each other and love each other. Because in this day and age, we definitely need more love out there. And Doctor Who is one of those things that we love. Please stay safe out there. And thank you for becoming part of the legend. Alrighty, and for those of you still with us at the Wizard World and our live feed, we're just continuing on, but that was the audio portion of our show. That's in the can right now, so relax and enjoy there, folks. Philip, thank you and cheers for the panel, and bring on Wizard World with you guys from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Well, thank you for the endorsement there. So I got a question for you guys. If you were to pick our next Time Lord. Oh, I never even got into Siobhan. I feel so bad about that. We never got to discuss the Big Finish audio for Siobhan there. But if you were to pick the next Renegade, who would you like for us to hit up? Would you like Romana, the Monk? I definitely want to do Drax. I feel like we could have a whole hour on Drax.
They're all so interesting, aren't they, in their own right?
I know
about these characters.
And I always thought. Basically, I always thought that Moffat was hinting at bringing back Omega, especially when they had the whole part with the Doctor taking on the army. They always had the big Omega, as their symbols and everything. And wouldn't it be kind of interesting? And it was like, okay, that's who's behind the church. That's who's behind the whole going after the Doctor. Silence may fall. The whole thing with that. I thought I was swearing up and down. It's Omega. It's Omega. It has to be. And nope. Thanks. Thanks for making me.
Graham says to you, Alex, let the Dalek out.
Let
the Dalek out, please.
And of course, Brian Blessed has just been cast as Omega in Cutaway Comics' first audio production. In fact, this is where I get to flex a little. Yeah, because we had that as an exclusive over on Type 40 Live, which is the show that I host on the Spacebook channel. We had that as an exclusive reveal from Cutaway when they revealed that Brian Blessed has been cast as Omega. So he's doing that for them on audio first, but I think the plan is potentially that Brian Blessed could end up if they ever do get around to making the live action K9 stuff. Obviously, because Omega, just like K9, was created by Dave Martin and Bob Baker.
Right.
And their universe that they operate in over on K9 Official, it's all the stuff that they created together. That's their copyright. They play with all those characters. Drax is another one, another example of their work. One character you haven't mentioned, who I know there was only one appearance again, just like Drax, is the character of Azmael from the Twin Dilemma. Now, I view him as a renegade as well, a renegade.
Right.
Even though, because the theory is because the Azmael in the expanded media, he's a Time Lord known as the Mentor, and he was the idea being that the Doctor, the Rani, the Master, the Monk, and Drax were all at school together, which was pretty much established throughout the classic show. But together they were a class called the Elite. They were the very, very best in their year at the academy, and that Azmael was their tutor, was their personal tutor, who sort of led their unit and instructed them all. So I like Azmael a lot too. So you should throw Azmael in. Go on.
But I didn't think about him because I can't. I got to say it there.
I've spoiled a future show if I have.
Kat, I don't know if you were part of this discussion. I know Alex wasn't part of this discussion, but I remember I was at a panel. I won't say which convention, and I had mentioned Survival. Yeah. And I had mentioned what happened at the end of Survival. Yeah. And a lady took me to task because she goes, I'm just watching that. That's spoilers. I'm like, that was 30 years ago.
You've told me that story before. Yeah.
I got you. We got Brian Barres, Dr. Freedom himself on the YouTube channel. Those pesky Pridonians. Yes. Well, I'm trying to figure out the name that Brian mentions. Rahul
from iZombie. That's how I know him.
Oh, he's gonna be an actor. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I didn't even know. I'm glad you figured that one out, because I would have been okay. Oh, I see. I've just pulled him up on the Google. Wow. Okay. Oh, he wasn't he? Yeah, I think I remember the first episode of iZombie. I saw it, and I really wanted to geek out. I just never got a chance to do it there. But
looked like a good show.
Hey, Christian, I got to bug out because I got another podcast I'm going to be on.
No problem. So, well, tell everybody about it after the show there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
we are about to record the first episode of the year for the 2021 DragonCon report. So that is.
Never mind. I hate you.
So yes, DragonCon is officially on as of right now. So we are the unofficial podcast of DragonCon. So we get to talk to a lot of the directors, guests, all that kind of fun stuff. So we're starting tonight.
And where can people find that?
Of course, either at dragonconreport.com or as part of the ESO network. And we are, of course, esonetwork.com. So we have a lot of great things going on there. And of course, Earth Station Who is part of the ESO network.
Yeah.
And, we're huge fans of the friends here. And so it's pretty cool.
Gotcha. Thanks, Carl, there. So definitely check after our show. Well, we don't want you to leave Wizard World, but definitely want to stay. But if you want to check out some other good podcasting out there, check out the ESO network. They're on the Facebook page. And you also have a website, right?
Of course. ESOnetwork.com, EarthStation1.com, DragonConReport.com, and of course, EarthStationWho.com.
Well, Mike, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Break a leg. Have fun out there, brother.
Good to meet you, Mike.
Oh, boy. Bye, guys. I'll see you on the next round.
Gotcha. Philip says, cast Narvin from audio is Sean. Brian Blessed really cast as Omega on audio on that. Interesting. Had Mind Warp on the Doctor Who CV. Watch along just over 2 weeks ago. King of Karnas. Yeah, I miss King of Karnas. Survival was the convention in 1994 to celebrate 34th anniversary of Doctor Who there. Well, okay. Got it there. There was this is just a thing that I and Brian's going to give me a ripping in a minute here. Well, no, Brian Gordon alive. Gordon alive. That's all I wanted him to say as Omega. Just walk around, Gordon alive.
That would be enough. It would definitely
That's
be enough.
right. His TARDIS is his TARDIS. As soon as it turns on, all it says is "die." That would be.
Keeps on. That film keeps on giving, doesn't it? You must be so glad that he made that movie.
You saw the promo for the Trial of the Time Lord series with the box set that came out over there, and I just remember that scene so well, where they're arresting Colin Baker. They're putting him literally on trial for a parking ticket. He ends up in jail with Nicola Bryant, and you see Colin Baker sitting in the jail cell by himself, and all of a sudden he turns to his left and notices something, and he goes, "So why are you here?" And Nicola goes, "Marrying Brian Blessed."
Great moment.
So,
fantastic stuff. Yes, I'm afraid I've got to shoot as well. It's getting very, very late here, but thank you for having me. I've loved interacting with you all on this subject because I do love the Rani.
Gotcha, Dan.
Very happy time for me being a Doctor Who fan in the mid-80s. Go on, yes,
no, go ahead. Tell everybody on the Wizard World and the Legend of Traveling TARDIS where they can find you on the Spacebook on YouTube.
Yes, I've got a YouTube channel called The Spacebook, which I suppose you could say I'm the head honcho there. I'm not quite sure what a honcho is. If you let us know, let us know in the comments section. If you're a honcho, what's the difference between a honcho and a head honcho? I think I really need to know these things. Yes, I've got that YouTube channel over there, but there's lots of Doctor Who content. We do Type 40 live most weeks on a Tuesday afternoon, our time, which I think is probably Tuesday morning Pacific time. I'm not quite sure about that, but failing that, for a few years I've been the host and now producer and host of Type 40, which is a Doctor Who podcast on the Fandom podcast network. We've just come back for season 3 of that, and yes, we're about 4 episodes in. We've produced over 70 all in all. It's going really, really well. We have a mixture of reviews and features and interviews. So in the last few weeks, we've reviewed the Big Finish story with Tom Baker and David Tennant, Out of Time. That was a lot of fun. We had a big Christmas party over Christmas. And then we've had 2 guests, and we had Richard Molesworth from BBC Studios in to talk about the missing episodes of Doctor Who, because he wrote a fantastic book about all of that. And we've just interviewed Chris Achilleos as well, who was the definitive Doctor Who artist on the Target Doctor Who books back in the 70s in particular. So he came in for a big chat and a big geek out about all of his artwork and his brand new art book, which came out, I think it was last week. So yeah, look for Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast. That's on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, TuneIn, Pandora, everywhere, and on the Spacebook YouTube channel. Thank you for all that, Christian.
Apparently, you're being invited on the CronCon Europe by Pops Van Sant. So if you get a hold of him, I think he's got something for you there.
Europe. CronCon. I'll have to write that down. Or if somebody, Christian, you can write that down for me, can't you? CronCon Europe.
Yeah.
Listen, you get in touch with me, Pops.
Yeah, Pops Van Sant.
And talk to me about it. Fill me in, tell me what it is. But yes, I'm Birmingham's king of the geeks. And I'm very much a European. So yeah, looking forward to the next time, Christian.
Yeah,
and for the next time that you beam into the Type 40 as well. It's always a good giggle. Lovely to meet you both.
And you.
Good to meet you too. Yeah.
A really, really good time. And I hope to materialize again in the not too distant future. If they let me out of lockdown, guys, lockdown.
No, you stay in your house.
Thank you, everybody in the chat.
A naughty boy.
Thank you, legends, and everybody behind the scenes. I do appreciate the invitation. Cheers, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Gotcha there. Philip continues, awesome. Gordon's alive. If only Brian Brezza could sign our limited edition of Flash Gordon signed by Sam Jones. Oh, was in town in Melbourne at least 5 years ago or so. Dang. Wow. Oh, well. That was fun.
Yeah.
My favorite, every time I think of Brian Blessed, I always get this flash that always breaks my brain of, that last shot in the Ken Branagh Much Ado About Nothing, when they're all just, bopping out at the very end and he's skipping. And it's but someone is lord and dignified with Brian Blessed and he's skipping. And
From what I've seen of Brian Blessed, I think everybody has this mental image that he is he's like kind of like prom and pristine, like a Sir Ian McKellen or a Patrick Stewart. But once I think I get an alcoholic beverage in him, he'll tell me everything about life.
Oh yeah,
without any. And he'll tell it to me in the way I want Brian Blessed to tell it to me. I think that's a problem, like, being completely goofy.
Will there be skipping?
Yeah, that's important.
I would say after 2 beers, you can make him do whatever you want.
Gracious.
Hey, I would say
there's probably some stories to that effect.
Exactly.
I can handle the dignified British person, cursing like a truck driver. I've had conversations with Miriam Margolyes, and it's, on the planet.
Yeah.
So Kat, you got to cosplay her. I think it's fine.
Honestly, if I had been able to go to the local thrift store to get a top, I actually thought about it. I really did, and
I think you would do her justice. I think it would be awesome.
I'm usually very monogamous in my cosplay. I'm usually strictly with the River Song. Sometimes I'll Idris up.
You got to open up the territory now.
but I might do. I have a pair of leather pants and they don't get worn much, so I might do. I just shoulder pads, man. They're just.
I know. Well, all the more reason.
When we were watching the second set of episodes, when she's pretending to be pretending to be Mel. Right, but you'll notice that her shirt does not have the ridiculous shoulder pads that Mel does. That she's like, yeah, there's just only so far I'm going to take this stupid disguise.
Yeah. Mel could play football. What was going on with her shoulders right there? And take out the football team while she's at it.
I'll do the stupid hair. I'll do the stupid colors. There's only so much I'm going to lower myself.
But I'm saying this is a reason this is another reason they need to bring her back in New Who so that she can have a new outfit, but not so much with the shoulder pads.
Exactly.
I think, first of all, I got to give it credit. When they came up with their TARDIS, I thought that was a cool concept right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was just, it was a simple yet cool concept. I don't know about the dinosaurs growing in her TARDIS, but okay, whatever. But it's just, okay, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry, Brian. I got to say it. I wish, and he's starting to with the Daleks, and I know the Weeping Angels are back, but there's so much, a treasure trove in Doctor Who history. Brian, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, and I've said it again, just in case for the folks in the Wizard world who've never heard of this, express this. I think it was just a poor decision for him to come out, Chibnall, and say for the first year he wasn't going to have classic Who monsters. He wasn't going to have classic Who writers. And I said, that's where I think RTD and Moffat knew very well. Bring in the Daleks with the Ood, bring in the Cybermen with the Jadoon, bring in the Centaurans with the Vashta Narada, and then just easily just mix them in there with new and classic Who.
Right.
And that was just my take. When he went full on, I'm not, I want to start all over, then I'm like, okay, but you better have some damn good bad guys in there, which kind of went sour that first series. Right. I was like, Krasko, really? Why did you even have a bad guy during?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, he was trying to reinvent the wheel, and it didn't need to be reinvented, and he was reinventing it badly. I was really hoping. I have a particular soft spot for the Sarah Jane Adventures, and I was really hoping that with 13 plus a multi-companion TARDIS, I was hoping that was kind of a vibe that we were getting, because that would have worked.
Yeah,
and Chibnall could have done that. But how tragic is it that the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was specifically written for a younger audience, had more teeth than Doctor Who has now?
This is just my opinion. I think having a full cast on with Jodie was a little bit too much and too cumbersome. I think we should have had one companion and we focused more on Jodie's doctor, so that people who were kind of still on the midst, because I supported Jodie when she went in there, but I'm just like, okay, but we still have to impress that this is the alien, and if she can pull it off, awesome. Let's do this. Let's get it done out there. Just having too many companions out there, I wanted more focus on Jodie. Plus, when it came to like bad guys and Rosa, I was like thinking, you know what would have been a better story for me? Instead of having a bad guy in Krasco, when the TARDIS crash lands in that area, and the doctor looks at the readings and goes, okay, I just want to let you guys know we're in a different place. It's a little bit different here. Just be careful when going out outside, because she knows what's going on. And Ryan accidentally gets on a bus, sits down in the seat that Rosa was supposed to sit into. And I think you have a totally different story where it was almost like Back to the Future 2, where now they got to get Ryan off the bus and get Rosa to sit down. And I thought that would have been much more fun. And I think the stakes would have even been higher, because I told somebody, I said, you know, it would have been cool if they did that and executed. There would, in my mind, there would have been a scene in there where Ryan accidentally is running down the street and bumps into a guy. The guy helps him up, and surely enough, it's Martin Luther King. And he's looking at him dead in the face, and he recognizes him and says, boy, my name is Martin Luther, or however Martin talked back then. And Ryan would have gone, and he wants to say all these things to the guy. Goes, I messed up Rosa Parks. I don't want to mess you up, and runs off. He's already screwed up one thing. He doesn't want to screw this up too. So it's like, I think that would have been a better story. I would have marked it a 10 at that point out there, because there was no bad guy. There was no need to, because the stakes were already high enough in Ryan's eyes that, you know, I messed up something so simple and so small. Right. But when we think about how simple things like Rosa sitting down on a bus change the world, that makes a big amount of difference. I think that would have been more an impressional story. That's just me.
Yeah. And that would be something that could let more of the focus be on the characters. You know, that's the big thing when you start off, you know, three new companions all at once. I feel like that kind of setup would work better if you wanted to you know, contrive some reason for the Doctor to stay in one place again for, you know, some amount of time. You know, if you wanted to do, you know, a season-long story of her just, you know, on Earth with Unit, or, you know, like if like in one place, that would, you know, allow for a larger main cast. But when you're also having to do, and here's, you know, the adventure of the week, and it can get kind of crowded as far as characterization goes, because you've got all of the characters that are only in the one story.
Right.
Yeah,
go.
I think that they should be writing for 13 as if they were writing for 10. Yep. I think that Jodie could handle that. I think he just got so hung up on the fact that it's a woman, that she's nothing, that she's just, I have no sense of who the Doctor is at the moment. And that's sad, because with everybody else, you knew who this person was, for all that it's the same man, you know, for all that it's the same person. You know, each Doctor has their little quirks, their little whatevers. And I don't, and it's not that Jodie isn't talented, she's talented, but I don't know who you are. And I also need to see some balls. I do. Look, the Doctor's the oncoming storm.
Okay, well, I will actually let me elaborate on that, because this is something I mentioned. When you think of Christopher Eccleston, you think of the moment that he was standing in front of the Nesting Consciousness. I am talking. David Tennant had the moment when he goes, "This planet is defended," and other moments there. Matt Smith, he's talking in front of the Atraxes. He goes, "I'm the Doctor, basically run." He's doing the Pandorica speech. Oh God, Capaldi, the Zygon speech. Holy, moly! But they've all had their memorable moments that you could just pick out. You can go on the YouTube channel and go, "Oh, I remember that." And what I feel bad about with Jodie is that I asked somebody, can you give me a memorable Jodie moment? And this is the thing, is one of the things I've always criticized, I don't even think this is Jodie's fault. It's just the writing. Can you remember a moment where, because the things I've mentioned are the moments when I felt that person became the Doctor. Can you remember a moment where and it almost was for me when the girl that fell to Earth, when she's standing on the platform with what was it, Tim Shaw, and there was a moment in Revolution where she zaps the image of the female Dalek in the picture and says, "Now say it to my face."
Yeah.
So we've gotten some really close moments. Can you remember a defining moment of Jodie's where you said, "This is the Doctor," that you could tell people,
No, and that's my problem.
Okay, so I'm not alone in that.
And yet it was super important that this is where they introduce that the TARDIS makes cookies.
Yeah.
This was the Doctor with whom it was super important that they introduce an extra cutesy poo thing.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Jodie didn't need an extra cutesy poo thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The first female Doctor didn't need an extra cutesy poo thing. She needs a badass thing.
But the thing is that it should not be looked upon as a gender thing, whether it was played by 13 guys or one woman at one point. It is still the same alien. It should be looked upon as the alien who travels time and space, rights wrongs, does and has moments in time where everybody criticizes the discussion between Graham and 13 when he's revealing that he may have the cancer again, which was a very powerful moment. And then she says, I'm socially awkward. And I had to sit there and go, wait a minute, you are the Doctor who stood in front of the Ark in space and had that wonderful speech about Homo sapiens. You had moments in your life where they were defining moments of who you are as the alien, the Doctor, not just by character, but the awesome alien that you are, that does all this. And I feel bad because we went from Rani to Jodie, but I just wish, for Jodie's sake, that in the next series they give her some defining moments that I could just say, that is Jodie, that is the Doctor, that's what I've been waiting for. And she's come very close. Some of the writing, I do like the Tesla episode, I do like the Diodati episode. She's gotten close, but it just doesn't seem like the writing is giving her. Let me give you an example. Here's the funny part. When I saw a movie called Attacking the Block, do you remember that movie?
Yeah,
I hated that movie. When I saw the promo for it, I was watching it because Nick Frost was in it.
Right.
And I ended up hating Nick Frost. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Your character's But I stuck, and I didn't even like it. I think, was it Finn's in it? And I can't.
John Boyega. Yes,
John Boyega was in it. I was just like, but I watched it because of Jodie Whittaker, and she stuck out to me. And I said, if you could translate what Jodie did in this movie to the Doctor, then I could start seeing the characterization. So if you can muster it, there is a movie called Attacking the Block with John Boyega and Jodie Whittaker and Nick Frost, if you can muster him. But it was one of those movies I was going like, God, you know what, aliens, go ahead, kill them all, I don't care. But I stuck around for Jodie's character because I thought she could do it. And when I heard she was announced, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And the writing has done it. And I'm just bloviating. So go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, by the way, Carl, if you think that Miriam has a filter at all, no filter at all.
It's a riot.
Imagine imagine your favorite British nanny who curses like a truck driver while at the same time correcting your grammar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Peter Capaldi in the thick of it, pretty much. That's
a little bit. At the same
jollier.
Time, correcting your grammar. Okay. No filter at all.
Got it there.
Bless.
Oh, hello, Helen, Heather. Hello, Heather Ellen. She's yeah, we've only got a minute left. So want to get to the chats here. Hopefully Jodie Whittaker's Doctor gets some more character in the season, series 13 still. Yeah, I'm rooting for her. I don't want the Doctors to fail. I wish the stories would give her more. And I'm sorry, Kat and Alex, I'm just venting.
Right there with you, bro. It's
yeah.
Every word you say, I agree with on this. I wish to God she would get some better writing, because it's none of it is her fault. You know, Jodie's talented, and I don't think she's getting properly directed either. I don't think she's getting crap writing, and I don't think she's getting directed well either.
Well, Heather, thanks for joining. No problem. I appreciate you sharing with us. And unfortunately, Wizard World is saying we got to go. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Alex. Alex, just give a shout out to where people can find you out there.
Oh yeah, my handle is 9 Wheels, spelled out like it's on NINEWHEELS. YouTube. I've got videos. Tumblr, IMDb is where I've got my screen time listings stuff. A lot of it is on IMDb. So yeah.
Okay. And Kat, I'm going to flip it over to you. Tell people where they can find your cosplay as well.
The best way to find me is to go to Google and search Miss Nerd Styles. I inherited that title. I'm the reigning Miss Nerd Styles, inherited that title from absolutely no one because I made it up. I have music, I have videos, I have cosplay, I am on the YouTubes and Patreon and Bandcamp, and I have songs you can download and cosplay you can look at and all kinds of stuff, and it's all sorts of fun.
There you go, Gig. I'm going to leave this final note out here. Natalie Foster, the trouble is with the writers didn't know who they were writing for. They dressed her as a male and wrote for a male, so it didn't mesh. With the master, they changed the sex and the clothing and the writing, which is why it worked, and it's exactly why they should have done to the Doctor. Yeah. Joe, I'm hoping if this is supposedly her final season, I'm hoping she goes out with a bang. I hope she makes it so that the writers support what talent there is in there, and there is in there. It's just not coming out the way we planned. Speaking of which, there, folks, we're going to end it right now. Thank you for joining us. Again, if you want to check us out, the Facebook page is, let me grab it. There we go. Facebook.com, The Traveling TARDIS. Get us over to the 5,000 likes. Please join us. We want to thank Wizard World and everybody. I want to thank Kat and Alex, and I want to thank you for joining us there. Again, please stay safe. We're going to call it a night, and we'll catch you next week there, folks. Thank you.